Welcome back to Andersen Acres. Today we're diving into one of the most fascinating and historic rabbit breeds in the world, the Standard Chinchilla. This little silver beauty may look like a novelty, but it's actually one of the most influential rabbit breeds ever developed. It's responsible for not just one, but three distinct chinchilla breeds. And it's all thanks to a quest to make a rabbit look like an entirely different animal. The story of the Standard Chinchilla starts in France in the early 1900s. A French breeder set out to create a rabbit whose fur resembled the luxurious coat of the South American chinchilla, a rodent known for its dense silvery gray fur. Rabbits and chinchillas are not related at all, but the goal was purely visual. The breeder wanted something that was shimmering and silvered in effect in rabbit form. Hey, you do you, right? Through careful crossbreeding of wild agouti rabbits with domestic types, including the Beverins and the Himalayans, this breeder succeeded. The result was a brand new color pattern, one that no rabbit had ever displayed before. He named his breed the Chinchilla after its inspiration, and it quickly became a sensation across Europe. By 1919, the first chinchillas arrived in England, and not long after, a shipment made its way across the Atlantic to the United States. American breeders were captivated, and for good reason. At the time when rabbit fur was in high demand, the new silver gray pelt was something entirely different. But the standard chinchilla, well, it was small, only about 5 to 7 pounds. So American breeders began developing larger versions, which would eventually become the American chinchilla and later the giant chinchilla. Still, the original French variety, the standard chinchilla, remained the foundation from which everything else evolved. The standard chinchilla is a compact rabbit, typically weighing between 5 and 7 pounds, maybe 7.5, if that's pushing it, when they are fully mature. It has a rounded, well-balanced body type, not overly cobby, not too elongated either, with a short, soft, rollback coat that lies smoothly against the body. The ears are medium in length, carried upright, and well-furred, and the head is proportional to the body rather than exaggerated in either direction. The most distinctive feature, of course, is the coat. True chinchilla coloring is made up of several precise color bands along each individual hair shaft. Starting from the base, the fur begins with a deep blue slate, followed by a narrow black band, and then a wide pearl or white band, and then tipped with either black or dark gray. So you have to have your 4 bands of color. The result is a dazzling frosted appearance that makes the rabbit look like it's almost metallic in the proper light. Okay, and it gives the illusion of movement even when the rabbit is sitting still. The undercolor should always be a slate blue, and when you blow into the coat, you should see that perfect progression of bands, those 4 bands of color. Eye color is always brown, and toenails are usually dark horn in color. The overall impression of a well-bred standard chinchilla is refinement and polish. A rabbit that looks elegant without being fragile. That's the goal. In temperament, the standard chinchilla is known for being gentle, curious, and even-tempered. It's one of those breeds that tends to settle quickly once it's used to handling. They're alert without being overly nervous, and they tend to do very well in show environments or as companion animals because of that calm disposition. Unlike some of the heavier commercial breeds, the standard chinchilla retains a certain lightness and energy. They're playful but not destructive, and they often bond really close to their handlers. Breeders have long appreciated how easily this breed can be socialized, a trait that likely comes from generations of selective breeding for exhibition. Historically, the standard chinchilla was developed primarily for its use for fur, right? Its pelt. And they became one of the most sought-after pelts in the early 20th century. So these guys were bred for their beautiful pelts. That's just the way it is. The silvered pattern was prized for coats and trim and hats because it mimicked true chinchilla fur at a fraction of the cost. At its peak, chinchilla pelts were exported worldwide, and this breed helped establish a thriving rabbit fur industry. Over time, however, the fur market declined. and attitudes towards animal products shifted, and the breed's popularity did wane. Today, it's kept mostly for show and preservation rather than commercial use. Many rabbit enthusiasts consider it a heritage breed, a living piece of history that represents one of the most successful color developments in rabbit breeding ever. Now, one of the most interesting things about the standard chinchilla isn't just the rabbit itself, but how influential it has been. This single breed gave rise to the entire chinchilla family. The larger American chinchilla, the even bigger giant chinchilla, and also contributed its color genetics to dozens of other rabbit breeds. The chinchilla color variety is now recognized in many other breeds, including Mini Rex and Dutch and Netherland Dwarf and many others. So if you've never seen a true standard chinchilla in person, you've almost certainly seen its genetic legacy. That shimmering silver coat, the slate undercolor, the frosted tips, all of that traces back to this little French rabbit from the early 1900s. Today, the standard chinchilla is considered a rare breed in North America. Its numbers dropped significantly after the decline of the fur trade, and while it never really disappeared entirely, it became a specialty breed maintained by dedicated fanciers. The Livestock Conservancy lists it as watch status, meaning it's still vulnerable and requires ongoing support to keep bloodlines healthy and diverse. For small scale breeders and hobby farmers like us, that means every litter matters. Raising and showing standard chinchillas isn't just about cute bunnies or pretty fur. It's about preserving a unique genetic heritage that could easily vanish without proper attention. It's the perfect example of how even small homesteads can play a role in conservation, simply by choosing to raise heritage breeds. Now, the standard chinchilla doesn't have any radically different dietary needs from the other rabbits you might know about, but there are a few practical considerations worth noting. Because of their rollback fur, they don't really need a lot of grooming, not like the wool breeds do, but keeping that coat in prime condition, well, you need a balanced diet and sufficient roughage and trace minerals so that they have that sheen and density, especially if you're raising them for fur. But even if you're just raising them to be pretty and hang out. Also, if you plan to show them, avoid housing them in areas where their coat could be stained. It's easily stained. Their pale silver tips and really interesting feet pick up discoloration easily. Clean bedding and dry environments help maintain that crisp color definition. Beyond that, they're hardy, adaptable rabbits that do well in most climates when properly sheltered. Just make sure you keep them clean. That's about it for us here today at Andersen Acres. The standard chinchilla, well, it may not be the flashiest breed on the show table, but it's one of the most historically significant. And one of the most beautiful once you see that coat shimmer in the sunlight. Drop a comment below if you've ever raised a standard chinchilla, or if it's a breed you'd like to add to your rabbitry someday. We'd love to hear your experiences and your stories. Now everyone's going to get loud, so we'll see you tomorrow.